This is the last pack of cigarettes I'm having, and after that I will stop smoking and I'll go out and exercise every morning. From the next semester I am going to stop going to parties every week and focus on studying. Or, this is the last cookie I am having. From today on I'll stop having biscuits after lunch and start losing weight. I'm pretty sure you're quite familiar with these comments, and if that's the case, did you ever wonder what's the reason or why stopping bad habits is painfully hard? If not, pay attention, as in today's video I am going to talk about a book called The Power of Habits to explain how you can leave all these bad habits and adopt habits that are healthier and beneficial for you instead. First of all, we need to understand what is a habit. A habit is like a tattoo in your brain. In some point in your life, you started to learn something and then you stop thinking about it because you already assimilated it and it becomes a practice. For instance, do you remember how did you brush your teeth this morning? Did you start brushing from the back to the front of your teeth or from left to right? If you pay attention to this, you realize that there's a specific way that you do this every morning without even realizing it or thinking about it. According to a study from Duke University, 40% of your daily activities are made of habits, like the one mentioned earlier. In other words, you're going in automatic pilot 40% of the time without using too much of your brain. How crazy is that? For instance, I am sure it happened to you sometime that you go somewhere and you already know the way, and then suddenly you reach the place but you don't remember how. You may remember when you get out of your house and when you reach your destination, but you don't remember all the streets and buildings you passed on, and that's because you've been directed by your habits. The habits function is very important in human evolution, and its main purpose is to save energy in our brain for new activities to come. Having a habit is like having a maid in your house to cook, clean, and do other repetitive tasks while you focus on more creative tasks. Without habits, the majority of innovations in the world wouldn't exist, and we will still be living in caves. So as you can see, the development of habits help us to direct the mental energy through innovation and creativity. Habits are located in the most primitive part of our brains and has played a fundamental role in human evolution and to our survival. There's a lot of mysteries we don't know about the brain and its functioning, but I hope that after this explanation you are convinced now on how important habits are and ready to take this seriously and take some action on it. To change a habit, the first thing we need to do is understand its components. Every habit, whether it's good or bad, has three main components. Number 1, the trigger. Number 2, the routine. And number 3, the reward. For instance, for a smoker, seeing a packet of cigarettes could be the trigger to open the package, smoking would be the routine, and finally, the feeling of relaxation that you get from the nicotine would be the reward. Every time you start to do something new, your brain analyzes the reward and it evaluates if it's worth turning it into a habit or not. If it's worth, meaning that the reward is going to be pleasant, then your brain will associate that feeling with the trigger and it will turn this into a new habit. Fast food restaurants like McDonald's or KFC, they understand the power of habits really well, and that's why all the restaurants are designed in a similar and standardized way with the objective to create a big trigger. They do this by using different methods. This can be visual triggers or olfactory triggers. At some of these restaurants, they use a signature fragrance that identifies the brand. The bad news is that your brain can't differentiate between good or bad habits. The good news is that bad habits can be changed for better ones, and to achieve this, we need to examine carefully the components of this habit. Again, the trigger and reward are components that are hard to change, as most of the times they are out of our control. For instance, you can try hard on stop eating cookies, but you see them everywhere, which in turn you end up eating them. The only component you can change and control is on the routine. To change a routine, you need to ask yourself the following questions when a specific habit is being activated. Number 1, where am I and what I am doing? Number 2, what time is it? Number 3, how I am feeling? Tired, sad, lonely? Number 4, I am alone or with someone? Responding to these questions will help you understand the reason behind the bad habit and root this into a better habit to replace it. I personally used this method to stop eating snacks while I was watching movies or Netflix. After making these questions I presented earlier, I discovered that I usually crave for these snacks during the evening, after work in the office, when I'm chilling in my room watching some Netflix. My brain feels tired at that point after a long day in the office, and my brain is just looking to relax. After answering these questions, I realized that being tired tired was obviously a trigger for me, and the need to relax was a reward required for my brain. Somehow in the past, I used to just sit down and chill and have some snacks while watching Netflix just to eat something. Once I realized that, what I did is I stopped buying snacks, as I used to get them unconsciously while I was in the supermarket, and replaced these with water and pieces of fruit. That did the trick for me, and what I did is I replaced the unhealthy snacks with food that is healthier for my body. While chilling and watching Netflix, I realized that it doesn't impact that much having the lack of unhealthy snacks. As I mentioned earlier, the brain doesn't know the difference between a good or bad habit. It only needs a reward once it's activated, and it doesn't care if the rewards come from a Kit Kat bar or from a piece of fruit. Moreover, it will find beforehand which routine you need to use to eliminate decision-making problems. Making decisions can be hard, especially when you are tired, but if you are still not convinced about the power of this technique, let me explain you another example on how Starbucks saves millions of dollars every year using this. If you know Starbucks, then you probably also know that their main product they offer is not the coffee, it's the exceptional service they provide to their clients. However, in 2008, Starbucks faced one of the biggest drops in their revenue due to bad experiences from customers, especially during moments of lots of stress, like when there's a queue with lots of orders and dealing with angry customers. After this, Starbucks learned a lesson. They decided to apply this technique and prepare a new training program for all employees that serve to customers face to face, and basically they teach them how to deal with customers in different situations. In other words, they were showed which routine they should be using when they detect a specific type of customer or a specific trigger happens. For example, if a customer is shouting that they received the wrong drink, then the waiter knows exactly what is the trigger of this problem, and then they know which routine needs to be applied in order to manage that situation in the most efficient way. Okay, so to sum up all of this, every habit has 3 parts. From these 3 parts, only the routine is the one that can be changed easily, and if you know what's the trigger and the reward that your brain associated to this, then you can find a better routine that can replace it and provide the same reward to your brain. If you like the video, please give a like and subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching.